Hello and welcome to the talkSPORT Goals preview show brought to you by Final One Standing. It's new from William Hill, 18 plus, gambleaware.org. I'm Sam Ellard, and joining me to reflect on the first few weekends of the Premier League season and take a look ahead to the upcoming international football is Lee Phelps from William Hill. Hi Lee, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Kind of looking forward to the internationals. It's always a weird international break, though, isn't it? Because you've just got into it, and then it kind of stops again. It's like, but it's been a great few weeks in the Premier League, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's always an international break 3 weekends into the season, yet
Yeah.
every time it comes around, you're almost like, this isn't right. Why is Premier League football stopping after 3 weekends?
To welcome back the Premier League, though, on September 13th, as well as having the £500,000 final one standing jackpot running, as well as having another couple of 50k jackpots running, and there's loads of people in all of those, we've launched a £200,000 jackpot, which anyone can join. So whether you're already in the £500,000 one, whether you're playing a 50k, whether you've never played, whether you've been knocked out and you're sulking, you can play the 200k one. So picks have to be in by 3 p.m. on that Saturday 13th. We've already got about 150,000 in that game. For the £500,000 one, which I'm no longer in, there's 45,000 left in that one. So
How many started it again?
we started 300,000, so we
Wow.
are getting down. I think there'll be a lot of people picking Liverpool because remember we didn't include Liverpool in that first round of games. I think a lot of people will be picking Liverpool in this latest week. But yeah, check it out. It's all on the app as usual. Check it all out there. Quick reminder of the rules. You've got to pick a Premier League team to win. If they draw or lose, you're out, and you can only pick a team once in each game. So yeah, have a look at that and good luck.
Yes, I'm going to spend the next 9 days sulking because I'm still disgusted at Nottingham Forest's performance against West
Yes,
Ham. I still can't believe they lost 3-0. I'm sure
I
Nottingham
know.
Forest fans can't either. But once I've stopped sulking, Lee, we're going to put myself in the £200,000 jackpot. And yeah, fingers crossed we can go all right. So yeah, 45,000 people left out of the 300,000, the original one. Feels like lots of people have been knocked out in just the first 3 weekends, but it shows how hard it is to predict. So yeah, final one standing. We absolutely love that. So we have a very short break, Lee, for the Premier League, first international break of the season. Outright odds. Liverpool were favourites at the start of the season. They go into the international break, the only team with a 100% record, and they'll come out the international break with Alexander Isak.
Yeah, and they're now 6-5 favourites to win the Premier League. So when we were watching Liverpool Arsenal on talkSPORT Goals, remember I said that Arsenal had just gone favourites for the title race going into that game. They were 7-4, Liverpool were 15-8, and obviously the result more than the Isak signing, I guess, has moved those odds, but it only solidifies it, doesn't it? Liverpool clear favourites to retain the Premier League at 6-5. Arsenal 15-8, so didn't drift that much. Man City 13-2, Chelsea 15-2. That gap has shortened a lot between those two clubs, by the way. Tottenham 28-1, Man United 40-1, then 100-1 and bigger the rest of them. But yeah, it looks more than ever like a two-horse race, and hard to see how they caught, really, isn't it? Because the spend. I know the net spend's been fantastic. They've done what champions should do. Strengthen while you're at your peak. And that's what they've done.
So yeah, no real surprises there, I think, in terms of how you guys have priced up the title. But Champions League football, interested how you guys see that going, because I think, as you said, title race, I think we're expecting it just to be a two-horse race, but there could easily here be, 7, 8, 9 teams going for the Champions League places.
Yeah, we've got top 4, top 5, top 6 betting because you're never quite sure what you're going to get in the end, are you? But let's just take the top 5 because I think it's interesting. You've got Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, and Chelsea, all odds on. Chelsea 1-4, and that goes right up to Liverpool is 1-66. So if we just take it as read that those four make the
And I think that's
top
probably
four.
fair, isn't it?
Yeah, Man City look a little bit wobbly, but let's just say they get in there because even with a wobbly season, they can still do that. Then you've got Manchester United 7-4. You've got Tottenham 15-8, so a smidgen behind Man United. Newcastle 2-1. So those three clubs all really close together. Not a lot between 7-4 and 2-1. Then you've got Villa at 9-2, a jump up to Brighton 8-1, and then Palace, Bournemouth 10s, Everton now 12s, Forest to 12s as well, then up to 25-1. I think it's going a bit far when we start talking about maybe Everton and Forest, but Everton 5th spot. 12-1. They've started really well. Obviously Grealish has been the start. It would be a huge surprise. I think top 6, top 7, maybe top 8 would be more reasonable. But I don't know. Who do you think out of those, no one's really impressed so far, have they, out of those clubs that I've just mentioned, other than, the top four. There's a real lack of consistency amongst Man United, Tottenham, Newcastle, Villa having a nightmare start to the season.
But I think that's why this market is so interesting, because inconsistent is a word you would describe all of these teams. I mean, Spurs looked so good in their first two games, then they stunk the place out against Bournemouth. I don't think we really know what we're going to get from Newcastle and Villa this season, who have had really sort of challenging transfer windows. I mean, Man United being the sort of next favourites, almost laughable given their start to the season. So it is interesting that you mentioned teams like, you said Everton. I'm not so sure about Everton, but Brighton and Bournemouth, those kind of teams that were kind of flirting with European football last season, had decent starts to the season. Would you say, Lee, is the value bet a Brighton or a Bournemouth, perhaps?
I think Palace in between those two, really. They've kept the captain. It's big. I know they've lost players, but if they can maintain this momentum, this winning mentality, who's to say they don't sneak into the top 6, top 5? I mean, top 5 might be a little stretch, admittedly, but top 6 for Crystal Palace, you're looking at 7-1. I mean, what's the next natural step for them to make that move?
I would just say with Palace, I'm not sure they strengthened enough this summer to maybe take that next step. They've also got to juggle European football as well this season, which I think is going to be a real challenge. And I don't think they've signed enough players to improve the first team. And I'm also not sure they've strengthened enough squad-wise to be able to maybe compete on both fronts. But it's a fascinating market, isn't it? If I had to pick one to maybe jump in that 5th place, which could be Champions League football, maybe Spurs, but I'm not saying that with much conviction.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. I think out of those 3 who I mentioned being around the 2-1 mark, I like them. Although, again, we could talk about this forever, couldn't we? Although you look at Newcastle, and now the word is, actually, do they look better than they did last season? I mean, that's a positive spin, isn't it? When you lose your
glass half full way of talking about losing the best centre forward in the world, isn't it? But this will be a market, I'm guessing, that will change almost daily, right? Because there's so many teams, and these teams can look good one weekend and not look so good the other weekend. So yeah. The race for the top 4, possibly top 5, should be fun. Relegation odds. Last 2 seasons, all 3 promoted teams went down. This season, the 3 sides that have come up have had decent starts. Burnley, 3 points from 3 games. Leeds, 4 points from 3 games. All 4 points coming at Ellen Road. And Sunderland, 6 points from 3 games. 2 home wins against West Ham and Brentford. Intriguingly to see how the bookies are priced up relegation odds.
Yeah, well, when we started the season, as you said, the 3 promoted teams were the 3 favourites to go back down. Leeds have got bigger. They're 2-1 now, and Wolves have taken their spot. So Wolves are odds on to go down, 5-6. Sunderland 4-5, and Burnley still the overwhelming favourites, 130 on to 3-10 to go down. Then after Leeds, you got Brentford at 5-2, West Ham 5-2. But remember, before West Ham's brilliant victory at the weekend, they were a shorter price than Leeds were, so you can see how this can fluctuate. But the thing is, in this market, 3 points is a huge amount of points when most of these teams who are in this market will average a point a game. You know what I mean? You're talking about like hardly any points. Some of them are maybe just over a point a game. So getting those 3 on the board is a huge market mover in the relegation market. But yeah, Leeds 2-1. It's interesting, Sunderland, like you say, that home form for Leeds and for Sunderland looks like it's going to be crucial. And Burnley unlucky to not come away with a draw against Manchester United in the end. Thought they did really well, and they tried to contain them in the first half. Then, actually, when they needed to play, they went out and had a real go at Man United as well. So probably a little unlucky there, Burnley. That would have been a huge point for them. But this is going to be another fascinating market. You've got a big jump up after West Ham to Fulham, Forest and Everton. Fulham 8-1, Forest 9-1, Everton 10-1. At the moment, you don't see any of those clubs getting drawn into this.
Are you surprised the Leeds are bigger than Sunderland?
Yeah, I think there's it might be weight of money. There might be the fact that we see a lot of bets on Leeds United.
Sure. I would have said I think Burnley, Wolves and Leeds. I mean, I think Sunderland have had a good start. They've been really, really busy in the transfer window. I know it's a bit cliche, but I think stadium lights going to be so important for them this season.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and I think they're fairly equal in terms of the effect the home stadium will have. It's just the signings, isn't it? And you look at Sunderland; they've made more, and they just look a bit more buoyant at the moment. I think over the course, we've had 3 games. We're making judgments after 3 games, but you can only do that, can't you? And I think they've looked more. I mean, the second game wasn't so good, but at home they've looked really good, haven't they? So I take your point. It may be, maybe that Leeds 2-1 is probably the value in the market.
Before we do international football, let's finish club football in the Premier League by doing top scorer, top assist market. And I don't think many people would have had a certain Jack Grealish leading the assists after a few games of the season.
No, absolutely. We've watched him get those 2 assists, didn't we, in that first game? And we were pondering, like, where he would be in that market. Gone favourite. I mean, which I thought was like quite a big
crazy,
statement,
isn't it?
mate. To go favourite, and that's just ahead of Mo Salah, who's 9-2. So Jack Grealish 11-4. Again, these things change because he's got 4 assists on the board already. Bukayo Saka, who's obviously injured, is 6-1 in the market. Florian Wirtz 11s. Cole Palmer 12s, injured as well. Bruno Fernandes 14s. Kudus 18s. Reinders is 20-1. João Pedro 20s. But yeah, at the minute, he's a justified favourite, isn't he? Because he's going to be the main man. It feels like he's going to get lots of opportunities, and everything's going to go through him at Everton. Whereas a lot of those other players that I've mentioned, they're a big part of their teams, but not the fulcrum. And he is going to be the main man for Everton. You imagine there's Everton players looking up and going, "Where is he? Where's Jack?" They give him the ball.
I'm trying to think, Lee, back to the first Saturday show we did of the season. I turned my nose up at somebody in the studio who predicted weirdly that Everton could be the team to watch this season. Who was that, hey?
yeah.
That was you, Lee Phelps.
Inspired. That's why I'm trying to push him for this top 6 finish. You're not having it. You're still not having it.
Oh, I'm not sure. They might have they might come around 10-11, but I'm not sure Everton are finishing.
I'm exaggerating. Let's come back. Last preview show of the season. Let's come back then, shall we?
Okay, listen. I think one thing I might have got right at the back of my mind is predicting Wolves to struggle at the start of the season, and I've still went Vitor Pereira, first manager to be sacked, which could still happen. Who knows? So that's in the Premier League football done. We'll do international football very shortly on the talkSPORT Goals preview show, brought to you by Final One Standing, new from William Hills, 18+, at gambleaware.org. This is the talkSPORT Goals preview show, brought to you by Final One Standing, new from William Hill, 18+, gambleaware.org. It's Sam Ellard, and I'm with William Hill's Lee Phelps. Let's now do some international football, Lee, and let's start, shall we, with England. They've got 2 World Cup qualifiers to come. The first one is Saturday at 5 o'clock, away to Andorra. England, 3 games, 3 victories. Andorra have played 4, lost 4, haven't even scored a goal. England's second game is on Tuesday against Serbia, which should be a little more tricky. Serbia have won 1 and drawn 1. But in terms of Saturday, 5 o'clock, Andorra away, I'm guessing England pretty short to win this game and also to qualify as group winners.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 33-1 on they are to win this game. Andorra 100-1, the draw 18-1. I mean, really, you to get any value out of the match prices, you're looking to see if Andorra can get a goal. And as you just said, it's pretty unlikely, isn't it? I mean, but then England to win and both teams to score is only 4-1, so it's a tricky one, really. With international football, if you're having a bet, obviously you're waiting for team news, and you'd expect or you'd hope that the manager would go out strong in the first game, or both, because you've got to win these games and then take people off as the game progresses. So once you've got your team news, you're looking at, you're making sure you're ticking off the big names on there and putting them in your bet builder for goals and shots on target. I mean, I think maybe the days of absolute hammerings by England maybe have gone. But then, the other thing is to look at correct score markets. You're looking at the favourite in that being around England to win 4-0 is 9-2, 3-0 is 5-1. So yeah, you're looking at around that. The bigger prices are actually the kind of the 1-0s and 2-0s. 2-0 is 17-2, 1-0 18-1. I mean, you'd expect England to win by more than 1, wouldn't you? I mean, you'd hope, wouldn't you? I mean, although to be fair, the Tuchel reign so far, I don't know what you think, Sam, I've not been overly impressed.
No, it's been a bit underwhelming, hasn't it? It's a hard one, him coming in just for one tournament, and what doesn't help Lee is players pulling out. You look at these games. The likes of Saka's injured, Palmer's injured. There's no Bellingham. He hasn't picked Foden, Trent, which I feel strange. So he's never really been getting his strongest team on the pitch. So for me, a more fun market I think is odds Inc. for players to make the World Cup squad. Firstly, is this a popular market out of interest?
Yeah, people love these markets, don't they? And I think that we've just been chatting on the WhatsApp group about it, and you start chucking in names, and there's a long way to go, obviously, but like I think you've got to try and predict what the manager's thinking.
Yeah. Well, can I throw you at least the odds then that jumped out at me
Yeah,
from
go
what you
for it.
guys have priced up for this one? There was one in particular that immediately jumped out to me as a good price. Jordan Henderson, 5-2. He's made all of Thomas Tuchel's squad so far. I think Thomas Tuchel sees him as a really important member of this team. I think he wants leaders. I think he wants players with charisma. I think Jordan Henderson, we shouldn't underestimate how important he is as a voice in the England dressing room. And I think Thomas Tuchel sees that. And therefore, I think 5-2 for a player who has made all of the squads. That is a price that jumps out at me.
Yeah, I get it. I completely get what you're saying. I mean, he'll be 36 next June. The oldest player to go to a World Cup with England was Sir Stanley Matthews. I think he was 39. For me, it's more about the state of the team and the squad. If we're having to take a 36-year-old Jordan Henderson to the World Cup, I just don't get it, really. You would hope by that point that we have someone in that position who could fulfill it. Now, I get that he might not even play, and I get that there's an element of his professionalism and his stature and his what he's done in the game that they're taking him. So it's almost like there to help with the squad in a sense. So I get that, I understand it. Look, if we've got a spare place for someone to help with the squad and maybe come on for 10-15 minutes to shore things up in a game, then great. But I think that's why it is 5-2, though, Sam.
Yeah, I like this price because you say having to take. I don't think Tuchel has to take him, and I don't think Tuchel sees him as being someone that's going to start the first game. I think it's more about what he brings to the team as a character and an important voice, a big voice. So someone that made all the squads 5-2 is at 5-2. Is a price that stood out to me. Another one that I find interesting, Jed Spence also 5-2. The left back one's a tricky one. My guess would be that I think Lewis Skelly is first choice at the moment. But then in terms of what's next, it's kind of quite up in the air. We know the days of sort of Chilwell and Shaw being in England squads are long gone. And I guess Spence is in this squad. He's starting for Spurs. He's going to be playing Champions League football. So I thought, again, 5-2 stood out for me there.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, of those two 5-2 picks, I like that one better actually. I think there's a lot of good vibes around him, isn't there? When you listen to a lot of the pundits on talkSPORT as well. There's a lot of positivity around Jed Spence, and for all the reasons that you've just mentioned. Again, we've got a long time to wait, haven't we? But if he has a good season, and he's already in the squad, then why not take Jed Spence? And I think 5-2 at this stage is a reasonable price. Yeah, a lot of the ones that you mentioned, like Miles Lewis Skelly, they're 2-5. When you look at this list, we're talking about the ones that are kind of like even money and bigger. The ones that you're just looking at and thinking, oh, that's an interesting one. There's a load before that who are obviously very short prices. I mean, the man we've already spoken about today, Jack Grealish, went into even money. I mean, again, been there, done it. If he's playing well and performing well, then I think even money's a little short, if I'm being honest, because will Tuchel go back to kind of go back in time? I mean, I know Jordan Henderson is a bit like that anyway, but Jordan Henderson's kind of always been in and around the squad. Grealish seems to have backed away from it, but if he's playing really well and Everton do have a good season, then interesting one to leave out.
Yeah, I thought was one other price to mention I thought was interesting. I thought this one was quite short. Jared Branthwaite, he's only played for England once. That was back in 2024. And he's barely played football for Everton over the last sort of year to 18 months. He's been really unfortunate with injury. But Lee, would the bookies thinking on this be, as soon as he gets himself fit again, he plays for Everton, he's a really good player, and England don't have loads of options in defence? Is that why he's quite short despite not playing too much football?
Yeah, exactly that. But even money is too short. Where we are right now, you wouldn't want to be back in that even money, would you? Maybe the traders an Everton fan, to be fair. But yeah, you wouldn't want to. It's not. Yeah, you wouldn't want to take that price right now. Everything you've just said is how it would look. But there's a lot to take on face value there, isn't there? Getting fit, me in the Everton team, Everton doing well, Everton playing well. If Everton gets sucked down into a relegation fight, then that even money is you won't get that, would you? Obviously. So yeah, not for me at this stage.
Lee, any other interesting odds in this market for you that jump out?
No, for me, that I really like that Jed Spence one. To be honest, I thought that was a really nice one. I was having a look down the list and looking at Max Dowman. Obviously, with we've had in history, we've had very young players being taken to World Cups for experience, haven't we? I'm not sure Tuchel would do that, but only 3-1. I expected a bigger price than that, to be honest with you. Again, there's been a lot of chat around Max Dowman, hasn't there? But no, for me, I really liked the Jed Spence one. That was the one that I'd picked out beforehand.
Yeah, that'd be some story, wouldn't it, if young Max Darwin makes that World Cup squad. That's England then. Lots of other home nations in action. In terms of the other home nations, Lee, odds for them to either win their group or finish in the top two, which would be a playoff, a qualifier. What jumps out at you, mate?
Yeah, well, I never answered your question about England, by the way, but they're 1-20 to win their group, and they're 1-500 to finish in the top two, which is obviously top two gets you into a playoff. The other ones, I think, I'm looking at Scotland, the 4-5 to finish in the top two, 7-2 to win their group. Denmark, Greece, Belarus. Look, Scotland have shown signs in recent years of becoming a better team, and they've got players in their team who can win games. Scott McTominay, of course, before he went and started pulling up trees, abroad, he was scoring goals for Scotland while he was at Man United, wasn't he? Of course, and I was looking at this game in particular and looking at the score markets, and you've got the likes of Shea Adams, who can he actually scored in the last game that Scotland had with Denmark when they beat them 2-0. So they've got goal scorers. I think that's crucial here. He's 3-1 to score at any time, by the way, Adams. But the bet I like in this game, this Denmark-Scotland game, Denmark have been putting in some good performances, is Kasper Dolberg, 13-8 to score at any time. 9-1 to score 2 or more. He's had a really good start to the season. Celtic were looking at him to take him, but stayed where he is, and he's already scored a lot of goals this season, and even in the early season. So 13-8 anytime, 9-1 to score 2 or more. If you're looking at a bet builder, I'd have him in to score. I'd have Adams shot on target. I'd have both teams to score in this with a Denmark win. I think it'll be a good game, but I do think Scotland can I think it'll be a really open group, this, and I think they'll have the capability of at least finishing in the top two, maybe winning it 7-2, maybe not quite big enough.
Yeah, they last qualified for this tournament, the World Cup in 1998, but they have qualified for the last two European Championships. I think that group there, Greece, Denmark, Belarus, I think they'll be absolutely all over that. Very briefly, Lee, other home nations, all three of them, how do you see them going in terms of qualifying for the World Cup?
Yeah, Wales are 2-5 to finish in the top two of Group J, 100-30 to win the group. Northern Ireland in Group A with Germany, Slovakia and Luxembourg, 13-10 to finish in the top two, 10-1 to win it. I mean, that looks pretty unlikely, although you're never quite sure with Germany these days, are you? And the Republic of Ireland, away from the home nations, top two, 10-11 in their group. They've got Portugal and Hungary in there, and 7-1 to win the group. Always great to see as many of the home nations and Ireland in the World Cup as possible. It'd be fantastic if we had a few representatives in there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I always think the tournaments are more fun, right, when there's more home nations out over there. So yeah, we hope they go well. Lee, that flew by very, very quickly. Thank you very much as always. And this time next week, when we do another preview show, we'll be talking about the Premier League again.
Can't wait for it. By the way, England, in terms of the actual World Cup, are priced up at 13-2, same price as Brazil. Spain are the favourites at 5-1. France 6-1, second favourites.
There we go. Lee, top stuff. Thank you very much. This has been the talkSPORT Goals preview show, brought to you by Final Understanding. New from William Hill, 18+. Gambleaware.org.